Okay, let's get started. Somehow, like, all of Group E and A, that's right. All of Group E and Group A are on. Although I saw John. So today, hopefully, for better or worse, will be a somewhat shorter class session. Like I told you guys, I've blocked off Tuesdays for going through and doing markups on your case paper drafts. I had some meetings I had to do on campus yesterday, so I'm about a third of the way done right now. So I'm going to go through the ones I've been able to get to so far and do a few other announcements. And then when I'm done with those, unless you guys are like dying to get a full 2 hours worth out of this class today, after I'm done going through what I've been able to do so far, and there's a lot of like repeated, like there's a lot of things that are the same, not error, but the same things that I want to change on the ones that I have marked up and the ones I haven't gotten to yet. So it's useful for everybody, even though I've only gotten through about a third of them. And if it's okay with you guys, as soon as I'm done with that, I will go to my office and continue like where I left off with doing the rest of the markups. I'm hoping I can get them done and out to everybody by Thursday or so. And honestly, I think this week is actually the one that takes me the most time. I should be a little bit better on future weeks. So my goal is to get them all done before Wednesdays, but there'll probably be a few left over that I need to do on Wednesday or Thursday, and then send them all out to everybody at that point. So that's that. Is that any questions? Yes, Zenira.
Where do we turn in the assignment that's due today? Do we just turn it in the same Dropbox?
There's an assignment due today?
No, the one that was due on Sunday.
Yeah. I think I'm going to change that. Like, a lot of people had problems like uploading it to the to Google Docs. So I will email you guys. I think I'm going to put a place on Blackboard to upload them, or you can email them to me. Like, although if I have, like, in the future, because some of you emailed me anyway, just because you couldn't get the upload to work right. In the interest of saving time, my like outbox when I respond to things with my Cal State email. Like I think I mentioned to you guys, there's like a 10-second delay every time I click send before I can do anything else in Outlook. And if you add up 10 seconds times every email that I respond to, it's maddeningly wasting time. So if you email me your case paper draft, that's fine, but I'm not going to respond to tell you I got it because it's going to take too long. Okay? Just if I don't have it, I'll let you know. But if you send it to me, it's going to take too much time to respond to every single. That's one of the reasons why I wanted everybody to upload it, so that I don't have to respond to every email. But as long as you guys know that just because I didn't respond doesn't mean I didn't get it, you're welcome to email it to me.
And also, do we just?
And Haley, I'll get to you in a second. Say again.
Delete everything from like the thread and send you the one that's due on Sunday.
Either way, like for your own reference, I think, who was it? I can't remember whose case it was, but somebody already sort of got a head start and wrote up some of the summary section. I can't remember who it was, but I'll get to it when I go through the edits. Was that?
I think it was Nathan. He said he didn't know what was due, so he did like 10 things.
It wasn't Nathan, because Nathan's I actually couldn't open. There was some kind of corruption in the file, so you got to send it to me again.
Yeah, no, he said he did.
Or he's got to send it to me again. That's Zach. Nathan's not here right now. So okay, go ahead.
Well, would it be easier if we did like a link on Blackboard? Because at least you wouldn't have to write back, and then everyone could see like when they submit.
I think I'm going to do it that way. Yeah. I just like for my own like I know my own like planning stuff. So if I say that I'll do something in this environment and I don't write down somewhere that I'm going to do it, I may not get to it. But as soon as I decide like this is the new system, then I'll make sure it's in my calendar. So I think that'll be the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I just
you don't have to write back to everyone.
I think that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, Yanir, did I answer the rest, or there was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the point was, you don't have to delete everything, But I don't want you to forget that if you did something else and I didn't comment on it, like that's just because I'm only doing the comments on the section that I wanted. So make sure that you include the other stuff you did in the future draft. You're welcome to send the whole thing, but I'm only going to comment on the section that was due. Okay? Other questions? Okay. Let me actually go through my name memorization exercise again. So, Nalita, Amanda, Marissa, Kitty would be there. Did she step out or is she not here? Okay, so Alexis, Dahi, Fuji, Tun, and most of your group, Maria, is missing. So let me make a note here. We're missing Kitty, and we're missing Anna. We're missing Maddie, right? Yeah, Maddie.
Sorry.
Was that me? Okay. And we're missing Esperanza, right? And then Marlise, Myra, Nancy, Richard, and we're missing, hang on, Jeanette, right? And EO, Ernesto. Ernesto and Bagat are now here, but we're missing Lovetron. What's that? Oh, crap! Lovetron. Dude. Sorry. That's bad. We're missing Bagat. Lovetron is here. Ernesto/EO is here. But we're missing Lily and Bagat, and Gabrielle, right? Okay. Let's see here. And John is here, but we're missing Macy and Natasha. And then Sam is here. Samantha, Sam or Samantha? Does it matter?
It doesn't
I
matter.
keep wanting to call you Sam. Is that okay? It's shorter. Okay. Katie, Selena, Jacqueline. Hang on. I know. Starts with a J. Manise's. Hang on. Damn it! I had it in my head just a second ago.
Don't tell you.
No. Jessica. There we go. Rachel. Nancy. Maria. Andrea. Yanira. Jeff. Zach. Haley. Jacqueline. And we're missing. Hyder was here a second ago, but he had to go. Hang on, Hyder. Okay, and then Nathan. And Anthony. Daniel. Sermeno. Vanessa. But it's not Sermeno, it's Gardea. And not Haley. I always want to mix you up with Haley. Hang on. Crap. I had it a second ago, too. Hall, but also Milwy. Mariah. There we go. Okay. Did I miss anybody? Did I miss any group? I think that's it. Okay, cool. So I got a couple announcements, and then I'll go through the markups that I've been able to get to so far. Any questions that have come up since I did my memory. I didn't really miss anybody, did I? Like, it took me a while on Jessica and on Mariah, but otherwise, pretty good, huh? Okay. So, I'm missing a few case paper drafts still. This was the first one that was due, so we had some confusion with like how to turn it in and everything. If you haven't gotten it to me yet, like, I won't penalize you on this first one for being late. Just send it to me as soon as you can. So, John, I said it'll, if you get it to me by the end of the day today, I still won't consider it late, okay? Because everybody kind of had some problems in turning things in. If it's later than today, I'll take off some points for it being late. And then in future weeks, if I don't have it by Monday, then I'll consider it late, okay? But this first week, it's kind of a free pass because we had some problems turning things in. So, as of right now, Hyder, I'm still missing. He knows about it. Gabrielle's not here, but I'm still missing his. Marissa, have you turned in yours yet? Can you send it to me again? I didn't get it. Like, somehow it like went through the cracks. Huh? Yeah, the draft for last week. You were supposed to upload it to Google Docs, but there was a lot of problems, so a lot of people did email me, but somehow I can't find your email. So can you send it again? Jacqueline, same thing. Did you do it? Okay, can you send it again? Thanks. John, I already talked about. Ernesto, have you done it yet? Yeah, can you just make sure to send it as soon as you can? Maria, have you done it yet? Okay, can you send it again? Can you email it to me? Somehow it slipped through the cracks. And then, Lovetron, have you done it yet? Can you send it again? Thanks, man. And then Nathan, he's not here, but I'll let him know as well. I can't read the document he sent me. Otherwise, I've got everybody's. Other announcements before I go on with the rest of the stuff. For anybody that's interested in earning some extra money, one of the consultants with the Small Business Development Center that we have here at Cal State is working with a real estate consulting client. So it's basically somebody that advises people who want to invest in real estate properties. And he needs someone to do some accounting work for him. It's 15-ish an hour. Could eventually become full-time. It'll probably start with 5-10 hours a week, and depending on how much time is needed, it could become more. So if you already got a job but you have some time to do extra work, or if you would be interested in getting into real estate and want to talk with him, email me and let me know, and I'll pass on your information to Jay. Okay? So anybody that's interested in that, he just told me about it a couple days ago. Next, I'm a bit behind on announcing stuff from our CC Career Center. They should have told everybody about this already, but I'm going to start underlining opportunities there as well. So today, from 5 to 6, is actually a little 1-hour session in Dorothy Donahue 104K about maximizing your networking opportunities coming out of career fairs. So we're going to have a career fair on the 14th that's going to be in the Runner Cafe Quad. So if you want a little bit of a leg up on that, there'll be a bunch of employers there visiting. If you want a leg up on that, 5 to 6 today is a little session that the CC is doing. Tomorrow, there's actually a CC session on now that you have your LinkedIn profile, and eventually I'm going to give you my feedback on making it look more appealing. There's the now what do I do? It's a lot about networking and reaching out to people, joining various groups that are going to help your career. That's tomorrow from 12 to 1. Also in Dorothy Donahue 104K. And then just briefly, without giving the locations, I'll go through some of the stuff for the rest of the quarter and the rest of the year, and I'll post the rest of this stuff later. But I wanted to mention the ones that were this week right away, because I've already missed the winning resumes one, which was last week. I'm kind of helping you with that with LinkedIn already, so I feel like you're not missing too much. But I also missed the nail the interview one. I forgot to tell you guys about those. The CC should be announcing all this stuff anyway, but how many people knew about those? Okay, so a few, but this is the reason why I repeat them here, because the communication system is imperfect. So those are the ones from this week. Sneak preview for future things for the rest of the quarter and the year. There's a career fair for internships and full-time jobs on the 14th of October. There's some information about choosing your major, which actually should already be something you guys have chosen since you're all seniors. That's on October 21st. There's a grad school fair on November 4th. So people that are interested in doing a master's or PhD or whatever in something, there's a grad school fair on the 14th of November, or the 4th of November. There's also a prep session for going to that fair to make the most out of it. That's on October 28th, and then there's sort of a career planning session on people that are graduating in this fall quarter on November 9th. Okay, so just I'll post this flyer on Blackboard as well, but the stuff that this week, I wanted to make sure to announce some of this stuff that was going on this week. And then a preview for the rest of the year. There's also going to be a volunteer fair on February 3rd. And like I mentioned a little bit when I was talking about career planning, depending on what your long-term career goals are, and what your dream job is, and for that matter, what your passions are about not-for-profit work or causes that you believe in. Usually when you hear the word volunteer, at least when I was an undergrad, I immediately kind of tuned out, because that means I'm not going to be making any money, and I need to make money. But the volunteer opportunities are great ways to start networking and building a track record for yourself in an area that you have passion about but is hard to get into. So that is February 3rd. And then there's another career day on February 29th. Just advanced preview on that stuff for you guys. And then the last announcement that I have before diving into talking about my markups on the first draft is a bit of an I wanted to give you guys a sneak preview of guest speakers for the class. Now that I know what everybody's case paper focus is, I can cherry pick some people that I think would be good to talk to the class based on everybody's interest. So first of all, let me plug in my thumb drive here. And so these are all of the case paper drafts that I've gotten so far, but instead of having them organized alphabetically, I organized them by industry. So we basically got 6 people who are broadly stated interested in accounting. 1, Nalita, who's focused on marketing and advertising. 3 interested in agriculture, broadly stated. Selena, you actually are comparing John Deere and Caterpillar, I believe. Yeah. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but in this part of the country, most of the products produced by those 2 companies are used in farm fields, right? Yeah. So I put it in there, even though technically it's about manufacturing machines. Yeah. We got 1 airline focus, Anna. 2 people focused on automotive topics in some way. 4 focused on banking. 1, Haley, like I said, in my suggestion, I grouped landscaping under construction because there's a lot of related industries that are linked to. That's the broader category that it falls into. Consumer products, I've got 6 different people interested either in big box retail, so Target and Costco kind of places, or in Pepsi versus Coke, or various things that all broadly stated are consumer product related. I've got one person, Nancy, focused on delivery services. Marliese, education. Cool. That's the only one I've got, but I think it's a nice focus. Got 3 people focused on entertainment in some way or another. One, Jacqueline, on healthcare. Richard on IT. Alexis on legal services. 3 folks interested in petroleum in some way, shape, or form. And then one, Macy, focused on real estate. And then Nathan's document I can't open, and there are 7 more that I haven't gotten yet, or I missed in some way. So sorry if I didn't mention your name. Just send me your stuff, and I will make sure to have everything in the loop by the end of the week. So based on that distribution of industries, I've got five folks that I sort of cherry picked that I think it'd be good to talk to the class. Some of them will be live, some of them will be on Skype, and they're all TBD because I need to call them this weekend and talk about when they're available. But the first one, I'm going to have somebody talk to us about accounting. So we got a lot of people focused on accounting, so I'm going to have somebody. I used to be at PricewaterhouseCoopers. I have a good friend who used to be a partner there. I may have him refer me to someone to talk to us. I may have Merrick talk directly, or I may reach out to some of the folks I know locally and have somebody from a local accounting firm come in and talk to us. So that's guest speaker preview number 1. I have a nice contact. I would say good friend, but I just barely met him. So he's a fellow Stanford grad. He's part of the Stanford Alumni Association here in town, and he runs a large family farm out in Arvin. I think he'd be a great speaker to come in and talk to us about agriculture in Kern County. I may look into having somebody from one of the larger companies talk, but I think this guy from Stanford, he's been running the family farm for years. Wasn't his original goal in life. Like he was a linebacker at Stanford. No, excuse me, not linebacker. He was a tight end back in the day when Bill Walsh was the first year Bill Walsh was a coach before he went to the Niners, before he came back to Stanford, before he died. And he wasn't able to continue with that and was interested in going to San Francisco and pursuing a graduate school degree, but then the family owned a farm and it was time to come back, and he's pretty much been doing it ever since here in Arvin. So good contact, I think, to come in and talk about agriculture. I think for banking, I actually know a guy who is now the CEO of a large not-for-profit in Cincinnati. But before that, before he became that CEO, he spent most of his career as a vice president, I believe, with U.S. Bank. I'm not sure, but he knows the banking industry really well. He's a guy that I have talked to the class a lot. So I may have Kurt Reiber speak to us via Skype from Cincinnati. I may look for another bank. I know some other banking contacts too, but that's another speaker that I'm going to try to line up for us. Consumer products, I actually have 2 in mind. One is an ex-girlfriend of mine. Her name's Angela. She started out as a consultant with Anderson Consulting back when Anderson still existed, before the whole Enron debacle. When the consulting arm got divorced from the accounting arm, the accounting arm went down in flames because of the scandal about Enron, and the Anderson Consulting arm became what you guys now know as Accenture. So she was there for a while. Eventually, she was in high tech in Silicon Valley, but then is a restless overachiever and decided what she really wanted to do was consumer products. So after that, she did a stint at Target. She did a stint at Nike. And now she is a strategic planning manager at Walmart's corporate headquarters. So I'm going to try and have Angela talk to us via Skype from Bentonville, Arkansas. And then I also have a good friend from my MBA program. His name's Eric Schwartz, who currently is a whole division leader for Tyson. They make chicken and stuff. But before that, he's done consumer products for most of his career. So I've had him talk to the class before. He's a great speaker. I probably will have him talk to us via Skype from Chicago as well. And then finally, in petroleum, two other fellow Stanford grads. One who I just met here locally. She's only like 50, and she just retired early from Chevron. She was a petroleum engineer for years, and like is passionate about the petroleum industry. Has time on her hands. Is really psyched to come and like talk to the class and help people out that are interested in networking into making more contacts, building a career in petroleum. So Valerie Lee, who once upon a time played volleyball at Stanford, but that's another story that I'll let her tell. I'm going to try and have her come in and speak to the class, and then a guy from my freshman dorm at Stanford, Jeff Collins, was with the State Department for a long time after college as a diplomat around the world, but he is now the international legal counsel for Chevron in San Francisco. He was not available to talk last time. If he is, I think it'd be great to have you guys hear from him on Skype. Certainly, Alexis, he's a lawyer at the end of the day. I mean, he's been a diplomat for most of his career, and now he's like corporate counsel for Chevron. But at least as a networking contact, I think he'd be an interesting person for you to talk to. But if he's not available, he's got several suggestions about people here locally that would be interested in coming in to talk as well. So that's a little bit of a preview on guest lecturers that I have planned for whenever they're available between now and the end of the quarter. And that is all of my announcements. So any questions about all of that? If I didn't mention your industry, it's just because we only have one or two people in that area. But when I go through and give suggestions for your professional development plans, so Nalita, for example, I know a lot of people that are in marketing and advertising. You're the only one this quarter who's specifically focused on that, so I'm probably not going to have a guest speaker to talk about it, but I can refer you to people that are going to be good for networking. So, and the same goes for everybody else, including public education, automotive, IT, everything. I've got people to refer to you. I just picked the people I'm actually going to have speak based on how many folks in the class are interested in those areas. So that's that. If there's no other questions, then I will go into my markups. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I've basically made it down through airlines, which may look like less than a third, but it's just about a third. So I'm going to start with Kitty here, and I'm just going to go down the list. And a lot of the markups here are going to be similar. They're going to be similar no matter what the case is. There's some similar things that I've done on markups for everybody. So if I scroll down, this is what here. If I do view, yeah. Can you guys still see that? I'll make it a little bit bigger, but I didn't want it to like go off the side of the page. How? Ay. Can you see that okay? Okay, so pretty much everybody, I have had some kind of like edit that I wanted you to make about the business model or about value propositions. So you've all put some good information in there, but I really want a short, succinct description of what the value really is for the customer. And in my opinion, when it comes to HR Block and TurboTax, basically you save time and money by having professionals and or software file your taxes and find you the most savings possible. Like all the rest of the great stuff about how talented H&R Block professionals are or how great the software is, the reason that you use one of these two things is because you don't want to spend your own damn time filing your taxes and you want to get the most tax savings possible. That's why anybody uses these two things. So that would be what I want. Kitty's not here right now, but that's what I would want there. In terms of the profit model, some of you were more on target than others. In this case, I think she's okay for revenues. There's a few edits that I wanted her to make to variable costs, so I think she is like, you need to specify who's getting paid the commission. So basically, the biggest variable cost in any kind of accounting work is the billable hours of the accountant's time. So in this case, because H&R Block uses third-party professionals at times, it's a commission paid instead of a salary. But either way, you're going to have the money you have to pay to the accountant themselves. There's also still in our 21st century world some level of paper and office supplies that go into producing tax returns for people. And then if you're using computers, if you're using even if you otherwise don't have any physical product that you have to produce per unit, you're using electricity to be able to use the computers to do the work. So there's always some level of utility cost in the variable costs. I think what she put down for fixed cost is fine. There's slight edits that I made here because TurboTax basically is a software company and H&R Block is a actual people company. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Otherwise, fine. And then I made a few edits here about what to add to resources needed. Otherwise, I think it's fine. So moving down to managerial execution. So if you look at this is a nice quote and just about the right amount of information. I don't need a whole lot more than that as long as there's some details in there. But what's missing to me, H&R Block is hiring more tenured advisors to recruit employees. Actually, there should be an S there. So in addition to making sure that you make little edits to the grammar, I don't know where the hell they're doing that based on this quote. So is it here in Bakersfield? Is it various places nationwide? Is it in New York? I would like to know that additional piece of information, and then it's fine. Here, this basically talks about the amenities that TurboTax offers to their employees, basically software programmers in this case, to keep good quality talent. But by itself, that sounds more like a reward and incentive. If you're going to put it here in organization, I just want her to add a sentence saying, this helps the firm retain top quality talent, to focus it on the point of organization. Systems. A lot of people, this is not just something from Kitty's, a lot of people, when they went to systems, various companies produce systems, or consulting and accounting firms offer systems as part of the package of their solutions. I don't want information about that. I want information about hardware or software systems that the company actually uses internally. So this is fine because it tells me a little bit about a cooperation with Windows for putting together the system they use internally to prepare tax returns. This, however, is talking about the system that TurboTax offers to customers. So I want her to tell me something about what TurboTax uses internally in their software development process. Rewards and incentives. So this is fine. That the Block Star program recognizes outstanding employees, but I want if you're going to say that, I want another sentence saying details. So at least a little bit. What do they do to recognize employees? Do they have an employee of the month? Are there restaurant coupons that you win if you're in the top 10%? Just give me something, one additional sentence on details. And a lot of people have a similar issue in what they put something which is on target but doesn't tell me specifics. It could be if you just take out Block Star program and put in incentive program. Company offers incentive program to recognize outstanding employees. Well, pretty much every company of any size has some kind of incentive program to recognize outstanding employees. I want to know something specific about what the Block Star program is. Otherwise, it's fine. So here, establish the foundation. This is probably sliced out of a larger article, but without the context of the rest of the citation, I don't know what foundation they founded. So that's great that they have a foundation that basically rewards the academic performance of the children of people that work in the company. what foundation? Is it called the TurboTax Foundation? Like, just give me something so that I know what foundation it is. Otherwise, it's fine. And then in leadership, almost everybody I made this same comment on. Only one or two people that I've seen so far actually gave me what I wanted here. This may be one of the harder ones to search for. If you have a hard time with it, you'll see in some of the other comments that I've made for people, if you can't find something, come to my office hours sometime over the course of the quarter, and I'll help you to search for things. As much as I can, I try and like search and find stuff like while I'm doing the markups, but I only got a third of the way through, and I spent probably 4 hours on this yesterday. So I don't have the time while doing the markups to also explain, like go in, type in this term, put it in quotes, and search here. But if you come to my office hours, if you're having a hard time finding something that you're searching for, I can help you then, okay? But basically, what I want here is something specific about some specific manager or executive that the company has. What did they do to either inspire staff or solve operational problems? So, and broadly stated, it doesn't necessarily even have to be solving problems. I want to know, like usually, like you'll have lots of things saying that, the CEO of H&R Block, Richard Smith, says that H&R Block's goals for this year are to, increase revenues by 20%. That's great. What the hell does Richard do for his freaking job? That's what I want to know. Like, I want to see an example of how Richard, what goes around and has meetings with staff regularly to find out what he can do to help. I want to know okay, he's instituted he's made a new department in the company for brainstorming R&D, or there's a new project. I want to know something that he's done for his damn job. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be solving a problem, but I don't want to just. Usually, when you see something about the CEO, it's an announcement in general about the company's goals. That's not what I want. I want to know what does that manager or that leader do for their damn job, because what they should be doing is either inspiring staff or sort of solving problems, starting initiatives, doing things inside the company that help the company to run better. That's the job of a leader. So that's what I want here. So focus on the product. That's great. Who said that? And what are they? If one of the CEOs said focus on the product, then what are they doing? Are they having weekly meetings where people talk about product issues? Are they sending around regular suggestions on top issues to focus on for the product development teams? What are they doing and who's doing it? And same thing, engage our service offerings to be more competitive or enhance. That's great. What is being done to enhance them, and who's the leader that said that? That's what I want to know. Make sense? Okay, scrolling down some more. For corporate responsibility measures, I want these things to fit on one page. Okay, so I expanded the width of the columns a little bit so that it wasn't so long and it fit on one page. If you are not able to fit your chart on one page, please edit a few words so that it has less words in the boxes. Change the font a little bit. Don't make it 6-point font. Nobody will be able to read that. But you can go down to 10-point font if you need to. Chop out a few words that are unnecessary. The footnotes you are more than welcome to make in 6-point font. A lot of you have footnotes that take up a giant half part of the page, and they don't need to. The footnotes don't need to be able to be read. You can blow up the document if you want to know what the footnote information is. This information needs to be readable, but 10-point font is okay. Okay? So I want this to fit on one page. And then finally, everything else, most of you did a pretty good job with corporate responsibility measures. The only thing that I had to comment on for Kitty here was this is basically something that impacts the company's expenses and their profitability. It doesn't tell me anything about their impact on either the natural environment or society. So when it comes to when it comes to a professional services firm, the biggest two things I want to know about are what are they doing to reduce utility consumption? So basically, what are they doing to use less electricity? Because the more electricity you use, the more carbon fuels get burned to create that electricity. So even though you're not really doing anything that impacts the environment directly, using electricity impacts the environment. So what are they doing to conserve electricity, or what are they doing to go paperless and not kill as many trees? Those are the two things that I want to know about when it comes to an accounting firm. Okay, so that's all of my comments for Kitty. I'll go through a bit more quickly on the other ones. Dahi, I think you did a great job here. Like in general, I've referred to what you did here in some of my comments for some of the other folks that I want them to model after. Again, I like what you wrote here. The core value proposition to me is that you help clients to save. You're either helping them to save money or time or increase revenues by doing some kind of project. It's either a financial project or it's a consulting project. Like broadly stated, that's what any accounting or consulting firm does. That's what I'd like to have there. I love what you did with profit model. So for everybody in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually post all of these in exactly this format. So I'll post everything on Google Docs probably, and you can just download your comments. But for some of the other, rather than writing the same thing 5 times, for other people, I said, for a couple others, I said, go back and look at what Dahi did and look at my comments and model after that. Okay? So I like what you did here a lot. The only thing I would add is on revenues. I mean, from what I remember from the way we used to function at Price Waterhouse, you either have an upfront retainer that you basically get a monthly fee and you're available for however much time the company needs you for. You do a cost plus fixed fee basis where basically they pay you some kind of down payment, and then all of your costs are just billed to the client, and then there's a certain profit fee on top of that you mark it up. And you usually get a chunk of that up front, and the rest of it you get when the project's done. Or you simply work on a billable hours basis, and every time a certain accountant bills 10 hours on this project this week, you send the client the bill, and at the end of the month or the end of the week or whatever the cycle is, the client pays for however many hours you billed. So I just wanted some information in there about the structure of those. Otherwise, I like what you put here. The only thing about variable costs, I would move advertising, web support, dues, and PR down into fixed costs. A lot of times, you invest a certain amount of money in advertising, and it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a certain number of clients. The amount of billable staff time, that's clearly a variable cost, because if it weren't for the project, we wouldn't be incurring that cost. Same thing for the office supplies, printed materials. Travel is usually project driven. The expenses by partners could be fixed costs, but a lot of times they're project related as well. But the other stuff I consider a fixed cost. Otherwise, I think it's great. Yes?
The expenses that partners occur, normally it's the billing rate. Partners have higher billing rate. So me as a staff, when I would bill the client certain hours, they budget us, but it's not guaranteed I'm going to get it done in their whatever hours. So if the partner takes longer hours than budgeted, because obviously they have shorter hours to do. So I don't want to say fixed cost because it's not set number. It really varies.
Yeah.
The firm adjusts it. And so does advertising for Kpmg and Vic Lettery. They don't have financial reporting, so 10K from Edgar, because they're not publicly traded companies. So they say their advertising budget has decreased in some of the articles because they're so big.
Yeah.
They don't really have to spend that much money as a small business would. So would that still be a fixed cost?
Advertising, yes. It's obviously, if you want to get more customers, you invest more in advertising. So advertising is semi-variable, but you don't bill a particular customer for advertising to them. The advertising, you invest in advertising and you hope that you get a certain number of customers as a result of it. But it's not something that's directly tied to the project. So I would move advertising here. If the web support and dues are specifically related to a project, you can leave them here. And I agree that expenses by partners belongs here.
Okay.
That's fine. The only thing I would move is advertising. And web support and dues, it depends. I mean, a lot of times when we were at when I was at Price Waterhouse, we pay an annual subscription fee for unlimited access to everything that LexisNexis has ever had access to. But we don't, we pay a fixed fee for that every year, no matter whether we use it for a project or not. So if it's dues for those kind of subscriptions, great. If you go in and join a certain subscription because the client project needed it, then it's a variable cost. But if it's a subscription for something like LexisNexis or MarketLine or whatever, and you have it no matter what, and you use it for all the clients, it's a fixed cost. Make sense? And then web support, again, if it's general web support for the company which benefits multiple clients, it's a fixed cost. If it's specifically related to a certain project, it's variable. Okay? Otherwise, I think the fixed costs are great, and I would make the same edits for both. Resources needed, great job. No comment here except that I think you wrote softwares, and for me the plural of software is still software.
Sorry.
It's okay. So I just deleted the S, otherwise you're fine. You have great information here, it's too much. Please chop out some of the words, play with the font and the size of the spaces a little bit so it fits on one page. Here is RSM actually utilizing this software, Utility Pro? Okay, please just state that explicitly, otherwise it's fine.
Okay.
And then basically both of these sound like reports that Kpmg and RSM McGladrey did for about the marketplace. I want to know what they do internally to pay and reward their staff. Price Waterhouse as well comes out with a report every year on the best practices in employee rewards and incentives across the industry. That's cool, but I want to know what do they do right at home? What does Kpmg do for their own staff? Same thing for RSM McGladrey. And then I think you're one of the ones that actually got it on the mark. I like what you put here for leadership. So just please make sure it fits on one page. Otherwise, I like it. Okay. And then finally, again, corporate responsibility measures. It should start at the beginning of the page and make sure it fits on one. RSM is actually, if I understood this site correctly, RSM McGladrey is the plaintiff, not the defendant there. I want a case. I want one where they're the defendant. Okay. And if you can't find it, come by my office hours and I'll help you find one. I'm sure over the course of time there's something that somebody has had to complain about with them. Okay. Otherwise, I like the one on Kpmg. Just cut down the amount of text a little bit, and then finally, to me, this was more about the work environment that they create for their employees. I love it. It's good information. It really belongs more in rewards and incentives or organization and retention for me. What I want here in sustainability, like I said for Kitties, is something about what is the company, what is RSM McGladrey doing to use less electricity or go paperless? Or, like here, Kpmg is working with fruit tree planting and trying to contribute to some of these are not for profit, they're charity programs, but at least it's something about the environment. Here, I love this information, but it doesn't really belong in this box. Okay, that's it for Dahi's, and I've referred some other folks to yours because I like the way that you did the business, the profit model. So Esperanza is not here, but you can see I just said copy the way Dahi did this, including my markups. So in this case, it's not cheating because you're basically doing a report on the exact same industry. And if you did it the right way, after I make my markups once on yours, I don't want to copy and paste them all over again. So Yours is the model that a couple other people are going to use here. So Lily is not here right now. Similar comments on hers. Natasha's not here. Rachel, you're here. So same thing. The only thing that I would say is different about E&Y and Liberty Tax Service is that E&Y is like any accounting / consulting firm. They either help clients to save money or time, or they help them to increase revenues. That's one of the two things they do. That's the only reason anybody contracts a consulting firm is to either save money, save time, or increase revenues. Liberty Tax Service, the only thing different is I wouldn't put revenues in here. I mean, Liberty Tax Service is basically about preparing taxes. So the reason you contract Liberty Tax Service is to save time on not having to do it with internal staff and to save money on your taxes that you pay. Otherwise, it's the same. I've made comments. I've referred you to Dahi's profit model for some stuff and for Kitty's for others, because the profit model is a bit different for a tax service than it is a pure tax service than it is for a consulting firm. So a Big Four firm has additional fixed costs that are not going to be in the fixed costs for Liberty Tax Service. But I've referred to my comments on the two of those, and then same thing for resources needed. Okay. Please make sure to put the company names here. I try to catch everything I can and make a comment on it now, so that I don't have because there's no time in my process planning chart. I don't have another edit scheduled before the final thing. So obviously the final product that you show to people as, isn't this a nice deliverable that I produced during my undergrad degree? Make sure that it has the company names in it. Make sure that you put footnotes on. I don't see any footnotes for the Liberty Tax Info only. And even, like I told you guys, I want at least half of the boxes to be filled with information from the databases. Even if the information is from your own personal experience or it's from the company's website or whatever, still put a footnote and tell me where it came from. Even if it's, I've worked with Liberty Tax Service before and I know this is the way it is. So if the official source of the citation is Rachel Wang, put a footnote saying this is my personal knowledge. Okay? Same thing for everybody. It's fine. I want at least half the boxes filled with the library databases so that you get the practice of using the databases. But it's fine to fill the other boxes in with your personal knowledge or information from Google or the company's websites. Just please make sure to footnote where it came from, even if it's from yourself. Okay? That's that. So Rachel, on organization for Liberty Tax, yes, it's a franchising business, and they basically recruit seasonal labor for tax season. I just want a little bit more detail. Okay, so are they are the seasonal, are they basically 1099 help? Are they third-party contractors? Are they hired and then let go again after tax season? Tell me another sentence or two about details. Otherwise, it's fine. Same thing here. That's great that they use e-filing. Pretty much any tax company uses e-filing in some way. Tell me specifically what did they do. Give me another sentence or so that's unique to Liberty Tax Service. And then finally, this seasonal hiring, good only for extra money. I think if I read between the lines there, they don't really pay very well. They just pay people hourly for tax season and then get the hell away from us. I want the way you described it right now is a bit too general for me. I want a more specific description. Liberty Tax Service tends to pay this amount per hour. They don't offer benefits, or if they do, they offer just these benefits, and it's only seasonal work. I understand what you meant there, but I want a little more specific. Okay. And then same thing. I want something specific about what a certain leader did. So, your world, your vision. That's great. Is that a program that is like the leaders of E&Y do to inspire staff to work better? Or is it something outside the company? I want to know what is some manager or executive inside E&Y doing for their job at E&Y, okay? And same thing for Liberty Tax. That's great. Senior Tax Preparers Guide entry-level folks. Give me a specific example. So, Liberty Tax Service has a structured coaching program where full-time senior managers coach seasonal staff. Like, if that's the case, tell me something a little more specific, but otherwise it's okay. Okay? And then this is a comment in general for folks. Like, when you copied and pasted, you got it from different sources, so the fonts are different. So this is Helvetica 10.5. This is Times Roman 12. This is Arial 10. Arial 10.5. This is Helvetica 10.5. This is Times. Make it all consistent, okay? It's a similar problem that many people had. Make sure for the final copy that you submit at the end of the quarter that it's all the same font and it looks pretty and professional. Okay. So the Attorney General brought a lawsuit against, and was it Liberty Tax Service? I assume it was. That's why you're mentioning it here. Assuming that the income tax preparation business in question was Liberty Tax Service, just state that explicitly. Otherwise, it's fine. Okay? This is great. I just needed a footnote here, even if it's I know this because I've worked with the company. Put a footnote at the end saying where you get the information. And then this is actually, first of all, for sustainability. This also sounds like a report they did for other companies rather than something they did internally. I need more details about what they did internally. But as a complement and an example for the rest of the class here, if you can't find information in the database searches, one alternative is just to give your own opinion about what you think should be done, and this is great. I edited a little bit of your grammar. So basically, in your opinion, Liberty Tax Service could change from paper to e-filing, and that would save paper and have a good environmental impact. If you can't find someplace already that somebody from Liberty Tax Service said, we can help the environment by going paperless, they damn well should be thinking about it. So if you couldn't find it, you can suggest it yourself. And then the footnote is, Rachel Wang's personal suggestion. Okay? And the same thing goes for everybody else in here. If you really try hard and you can't find something in any of the databases or on Google, you're welcome to put in your own logic what you think the company should do. I just want to make sure at least half the boxes come from the databases, okay? So that's that. That's all the accounting ones. Nolita, you're the only advertising one, but I'll dive in on this quick. It's you. So great job getting a head start on writing these up. Make sure you include that when you submit draft 5, because I'm going to forget that. I'm not going to go back to draft 1 and copy and paste this. I'll forget. So good job doing it. Just make sure you submit it a month from now. Okay. In my opinion, you're sort of on target here. I would refine. I've pretty much commented on almost everybody's value proposition, and streamlined and shortened it. So, in my opinion, they help attract new customers and either retain or exploit. Sounds like a negative word, but it's a. Huh? No. I put exploit myself, but I put exploit here on the right. Because it's a term that it's a business term that a lot of people use to say get your existing customers to pay more money, get the most possible out of the existing customers. So basically the reason you hire any advertising or consulting or PR firm, well, PR is a little bit different because you're managing messages that don't always have a direct impact on revenues, but you're basically hiring them to either get new customers or keep the ones you've already got or get the ones you've already got to spend more money. And usually you pay the advertising firm rather than doing it yourself, because the advertising firm has expertise in how to do advertising the best way possible. And they usually have insider access to all the media platforms. So to me, that's the value proposition of any advertising firm. You use them to get more customers or to get the ones you already have to either stay with you and preferably pay more money. That's it. Profit model, I've added a little bit here on like the timing, the way the revenues are collected. So usually you get some kind of upfront retainer or a down payment of some kind, and then the rest of the money comes on the tail end after the project is done. I would add these things to variable costs. So yes, the actual cost of the media is certainly like part of the variable cost, but I'd say the first and foremost thing is also the staff from the company that are working on that project, because they're usually, just like in an accounting firm, they're billed to the client. So if this advertising creative person is working on the Coca-Cola account, every hour they spend is billed at a certain rate to Coca-Cola. It's very similar to an accounting firm or a law firm in that regard. Media buy costs, that's pretty much what you said here about negotiation to purchase certain media. Project-related advertising. So sometimes, even though we're largely in a paperless world, you still have to produce physical forms or like examples, stuff like that. There's a certain amount of like paper and plastic and stuff that gets produced over the course of a project. And then of course you're always using electricity to do these projects. So that's that. I also added some fixed costs here. So yes, broadly stated employees, but employees are partially variable and partially fixed. The employees that work on a particular client project are billed to that project and largely, like in an accounting firm or a consulting firm, considered variable cost. And then the fixed costs are sales and like not marketing for clients, but the actual marketing of Omnicom. So the people that sell new projects for Omnicom are usually fixed cost. All the administrative support staff are fixed costs, and then usually, kind of like a consulting firm would pay for a subscription each year to LexisNexis or to ProQuest. Like there's sort of like there's a certain amount of like sort of membership fee to be part of the club, so that you have insider access to putting advertisements on NBC, and you have insider access to like first choice on Google and on certain radio channels and everything. They have a certain investment that they make every year, so that they're like on the A list and they have backstage passes, as it were, for all the major media. That's a fixed cost that they have regardless of how many clients. IT systems, same thing. Like they're going to have amazing like they're going to pay for the like Cadillac version of every Adobe product ever created, and all of those are also fixed costs, regardless of how many clients they have. And then you're going to have rent or depreciation, depending on whether they rent or own, of their office space and the desks and the chairs and the computers and everything. So that's basically that, and it's going to be the same for both. Here, I think come back was like, you need to go back and finish this.
It was really hard to get any information from both of them. Like I had to go digging for everything. I couldn't find a lot of information on that.
But that's okay. So basically, this is supposed to be in your own words anyway. So obviously, you can go out and do some research if you don't know. But for most folks in this class, like the reason I'm here, like I could make part of the class like a whole lecture on, how does profit model work? But profit model is a lot different in advertising than it is in in Volkswagen. It's totally different. So it's easier if I just go in for each of your markups and say, okay, Nalita, things you may not have known about how the profit model works in this business are these things. And then anytime the resources needed for any of you is basically, like, I wouldn't even bother to fill this out until you've finished with the profit model. Once you're finished with the profit model, then you basically just go through and read every single resource, every single cost that you have, either variable or fixed, and think about what do you need to have in order to be good at that cost. So billable staff, you need to have top quality billable staff talent. Media buy cost, you need to have access to premium media platforms. Okay? Project-related advertising resources, you need to have top quality advertising resources. So forth and so on. Utilities, you need to have access to affordable utilities. So you're basically just repeating what's in the cost section, but phrase it in terms of a thing that you have rather than a cost that you pay. Make sense? And that actually goes for everybody in here. Just change the details depending on what industry you're focusing on. Your footnotes, you actually like made little stars.
Yeah, because my end review was going crazy on me.
That's okay. If you can't, like, what I want, like, I'm used to the way you do it in Word. Do you use Word or do you use, like...
I used Word, but it got corrupted, so I had to copy and use it from my Google Drive, because Google Drive didn't want to export it. So I was having problems, so I just copied and pasted.
But it's fine for now. For the final version, make sure that, like, you actually go in and do, like, references, insert footnote. Otherwise, it's fine. The information is fine. I just want it down at the bottom in really little font. Let's see. Like, a good work environment gives employees challenge. Yes, I agree. You could pretty much say that about any company in the world. Like, is that a quote that somebody from Omnicom said about Omnicom? If it is, just make sure to say that, okay? Basically, you said here you were having some trouble finding stuff on systems. If you still can't find it, like, it's time consuming for me to do that, like, in my markups, but just come by my office hours at some point and I can help you find the information. Same thing goes for everybody else. If you're having a really hard time searching on something, email me. If I'm able to, I'll explain it over email. If I can't, then come by my office hours and I'll help. Okay. So I think if I understood correctly, you probably went to like Glassdoor.com or whatever, someplace that has ratings from former employees about what was it like to work there. That's fine. That's good information to put here. Just like some post a preview that say job was satisfying and have high pay. Well, like what was satisfying about it, or how much did they get paid? Tell me some kind of detail, and then footnote it saying I got it from this website that has quotes from people that talk about where they used to work. Okay. Otherwise, it's fine. And then same thing here. I want. They have all their own clients and respect one another. They do not try to take away one another's clients. They all have. So basically, I think what you're saying is like the various like employees and partners that work within there are collegial, and they don't try to like steal each other's clients. But I want to know at the manager level, is somebody specifically going out and on a monthly basis saying, hey, let's make sure that we don't like rob each other's clients? Are they like, whenever that happens, are they like slapping somebody's hand basically and saying, don't do that? Like, what is, I agree, that's a nice policy, but who is the executive who is saying that should happen, and what are they doing to make it happen? Make sense? And then same thing here. I like the fact that they have a diverse workplace, and they want everybody to be inspired by colleagues. Who's saying that, and who's making sure that it gets done? Otherwise, fine. And then, same as above, fix the footnotes for the final version. This is great. wrongful termination and sexual harassment, pretty much any company above like a couple hundred employees is going to have some lawsuit brought against them over time for wrongful termination and sexual harassment. Who sued them, and what were the details of wrong? Like, just give me one more sentence about the details, and then same thing here. Like, yes, unfortunately, many companies inflate their income if it's at all possible, so that they like look good to shareholders and they make more money. Their share price goes up. Tell me the details. Like, when did they inflate the stock price? Like, how did they do it? Just one more sentence. That's it. And then same thing here. Great that they give to a young girls charity. What is it? And how much do they give? Just give me another sentence or so of details. Same thing here. That's great. Like, give me some specific examples. What communities, what charities? And then that's great that they like donate to the environment or have sustainable business practices. What are the practices? And what environmental causes do they donate to? Otherwise, fine. Okay? That's that. Selena, in the interest of saving time, like, I'm going to post all of this for everybody rather than continuing to read through everybody at this point. At big picture level, I'd also edit the value proposition slightly. I had some things to add and subtract here for profit model, and then I kind of wrote out the implications of what that would mean for resources needed. I want some more details, footnotes. Generally, I like the information you found. There's just a few minor things about adding more details or adding a footnote. And then same thing, a little bit more details there. And that sounds more like a charity donation to me, which is great. I love the fact that clean water and like that's great. But if you keep this, chop out most of the rest of it, and just say that Caterpillar is contributing to clean water and energy programs in Africa. And here's a sentence about some of the details of the programs. That would be okay. Otherwise, tell me something there. Like, basically, this is nice here because it basically talks about how John Deere is trying to make machines that help farmers have a better impact on the environment. I'm sure Caterpillar is doing the same thing. You can either do that, or if you want to stick with this, chop out the rest and tell me another sentence of details about the clean water solutions. Okay. That's that. Daniel and Jessica, similar foci for both of you. I chopped down. I mean, pretty much any agriculture company, like the value proposition is that you create good tasting, healthy food that people like, that nourishes people and they enjoy eating. Like, there's a lot of other things that help them be competitive, but the whole reason that a company like Sunworld exists is because people like to eat fruit. They need it to like live because they need calories and nutrients, and they would prefer to eat fruit that tastes good, not like crap. And that's pretty much what every agriculture company has as their main value proposition. I went in and yes, it is weekly, monthly. I always forget what's the acronym FOB stand for. Freight on board. Freight on board. Okay, so I assume that they basically like in shorter terms they like get paid weekly or monthly for shipping a bunch of produce to a store, right? Okay, so I would just reduce that slightly to say that sentence. Yes, contracted labor. I call it field labor, but you can keep contracted labor if you want. You can't grow anything without seeds, fertilizer, water, and like various supplies. So I'd put that in there. You got to even though you could argue that the maintenance costs are a fixed cost, I think the more heavily you farm a certain tract of land, the more wear and tear you're going to have on the machinery. So I think a lot of agricultural companies probably would consider the maintenance on the vehicles and equipment to be a variable cost rather than a fixed one. And then I agree, cold storage, rent, and like I would say shipping costs too, even though sometimes it's a third party or it's the company that's receiving it that's paying for the shipping, but still I think I'd put it in there. And then on fixed costs, if they own the land, there's still some sort of like cost associated with maintaining the ownership of that land, whether it's a property tax or something else. And then you're going to have, like, over the course of time, like, you know, you buy a certain tractor or a certain like harvesting machine of some kind, and you know, just like a car, each year it's worth like $2,000 less. Usually that depreciation is a fixed cost rather than a variable one, but I'd put that in here. I agree, R&D is a cost. I'd put in sales in addition to advertising, because a lot of the relationships with grocery stores are going to be direct sales rather than advertising. You're going to have a certain amount of like admin staff that you have to have an overhead cost for. I'd put in IT there, and then rent and depreciation. Power, I'd actually move up to. You can leave it as a fixed cost because there's water and gas and oil are more like used in the field than electricity, I would think. The power utility is actually more for the headquarters, and that'll be a fixed cost. But those are the edits I'd make there. I just wrote out how I would describe those. Couple minor things, like make sure to make that black instead of red. And I don't know if I had any of the examples that I went through yet, but some people, when you did a search and copied and pasted, like I don't think this is the case in yours, Daniel, but some other folks did. When you do a search and copy and paste, the word Sunworld will be highlighted in the background because it was highlighted in the search. Make sure for your final version that you go in and take out that highlighting. It's distracting in the final visual appearance. I don't think that was the case in yours, but before I get done for the day, I noticed that in a couple papers, just like changing the font. Make sure the font's consistent, and make sure you take out like the little highlights that come from when you did the search and you copied and pasted. Otherwise, I'd delete this. What are the biggest, most important costs, and just start describing them. And I've written some things about how I would describe it there. I want individual footnotes for each box, which you sometimes have and sometimes don't. So like,
I transferred it from a page document to a Word. So
that's fine. Just make sure for the final version that you've got the footnote. And it looks like a lot of this came from the websites. I want you to use at least 4 of the boxes should be filled with something from the library websites or the library database. If you can't find the information, then just come to my office hours, email me, and I'll help you to find. And if we really can't find it, then we'll move on to Google or whatever. But sometimes our databases aren't perfect. Like I've said to a lot of people, unfortunately, at any Cal State campus, whether it's here or Cal Poly or San Diego State or like San Jose State, we at the end of the day we are a government like funded institution, and wherever possible, the powers that be, when they make decisions about our budget, try to spread the money as thin as they can, because it's taxpayers' money. They're trying to make as economical decisions as possible. Unfortunately, one of the effects that has that trickles down to the quality of education that you guys get is that we usually choose the most when you like buy a car and you could have like all of the extras and the super like 5-year like extended warranty option, but if you want to save money, you just say no to all those things. Like when we bought our subscription, we said no to all of the extras. Some of the extras are important. So unfortunately, sometimes our database is just really hard to find stuff. Sometimes it's not. You just have to use the right terms. Sometimes it's because of the quality of the database. So if we really can't find this stuff, there's always interesting stuff to find on Google. But being able to negotiate, being able to navigate ProQuest and being able to navigate LexisNexis is a useful skill in a lot of different businesses. So I want you to get practice doing it. If we really can't find it, then we'll move on. Okay? But for everybody in here, if you can't find something, email me, tell me the problem. If I can solve it without us having to meet, I'll send you a suggestion back. If not, then come by my office hours and we'll fix it. Here, like Tricky and Misteco, like that's great. What did they sue him about? Like, did they have to work too long hours? Did they get injured? Just give me another sentence or so with details. And then it's a little thing, and it's probably because you transferred from one format to another. But I want the footnotes to be in superscript format, you know. And when you transfer them over, they're not. But just make sure that's fixed for the final document. And then this is great that they give the charities. Give me a couple specific examples. Otherwise, it's fine. And that's it for here. There's a couple of small grammar edits that I made. I can't tell what they were, but you'll be able to see in the other version. And then finally, Jessica, similar kinds of comments. Revenues, I pretty much made the exact same comments. Make sure that the font's consistent. You know, this is Trebuchet, and this is Times Roman.
I fixed all that after I submitted it.
What's that?
I fixed all of it.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So same thing. Make sure it all fits on one page.
Okay.
And then I'd like a footnote there, even if it's I know because I work with the wonderful company. Put yourself as the footnote wherever it came from. And that's it. So that's all I've got on the markups I've done so far. I promise as soon as I leave here, the rest of the day today, as I can. Tomorrow I got to do some work on publishing tomorrow as well. But we're interviewing a new professor candidate to start next year. So as much time as I can spend on these tomorrow, later today, tomorrow, I'll get them done as fast as I can. And then I'm thinking that next week, week after, the actual time burden for me is a little bit less. Like I really have to go into the details of all three of these, and for some of the stuff next week I largely just need to check and make sure that you got the right source and it's okay. So hopefully I'll be able to get most of them done before Wednesday next week. That's it. And any other questions, come up here. Otherwise, let's get done early. I can spend some more time on doing your markups. And I'll post all of these. I'll post all of my comments so you can download them on Google Docs tomorrow or Friday as soon as I'm done. Yep.
I went to my emails and I didn't even look like I sent it. But I originally was doing PG&E, and so you said I'd do another utility company, and I did ERA. But I just felt like they were like too much in different industries to really compare them well. So then when I was doing the other research for the next section, I found Exelon, which is like another version of PG&E, but it's like other side of the country kind of. Can I switch to that company?
Yeah.
So do you want me to just send you my old one just to show you that I did it? But it really is going to have different information on it.
Yes, send me the old one.
And it's all messed up,
basically,
but I can send it to
if
you.
if you want to edit it so that I'm making comments on the new version,
Yeah, because I want to change ERA.
just send it to me. Like, fix it this weekend.
Okay.
Like, and submit both of them together.
Okay.
And just remind me, like,
That I
my
switched.
edits from the first time are in this one. Please
Okay.
give me comments on both. Okay. So don't submit the old one. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I don't think you
I'll
want
give you the
that.
points for it, but submit both this weekend and remind me in the email that you send me.
Okay.
Like, remind me that they're both there so I don't forget. Okay?
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think Pooja is standing here next. Yeah. Like, wait until everybody else is gone, and then we can either head to my office or we can do it here, whatever. So that was Dahi. Okay, I said, okay.
I was
Daniel.
working on a draft number 2, and for the driving courses, I don't even know where to go. I couldn't pull that up. Can you just walk through it real quick?
Yeah, sure. So, actually,
Was that one through the library?
yeah. So here, it's a real pretty. Actually, hang on. Before I forget, let me turn off the podcast recording.